good afternoon. I guess it's afternoon, right, Shelby?
Close enough. Afternoon, evening.
I guess it's 5
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon. It's the week before NFL regular season, I think, starts. There's college football this weekend, and we're here talking about high school sports.
One of the most wonderful times of the year.
It is. You can see we got some guests a little different than I guess they've both been coaches, but they're a little different than a normal coach right now. We got Steve Horrell, the athletic director from Macomb High School, and Reed Kelso, the athletic director from A-Town, joining us today, and hopefully we'll get all our internet to work here. But we'll start with Coach Horrell. Coach, we had volleyball coaches and football coaches last week. Both you and Mr. Kelso have a lot of things going on that are not just football and volleyball in the fall, don't you?
Right. Excuse me. Obviously, this year, different than Coach Kelso, I do junior high and high school. So we picked up baseball and softball to junior high level, and those started about 3 weeks ago. And then we have junior high football. We have junior high cross country. We have junior high girls basketball. At the high school level, we have cross country, we have girls tennis, we have boys golf, we have girls golf, we have girls swimming, we have boys soccer, and then football and volleyball.
So not much.
Not much. No.
You know, Macomb, obviously the biggest school, Coach Kelso, and A-Town, though, has a lot of stuff going on as well, don't they? And Coach Quinn pointed out, I think in his meet when we were talking to him Wednesday night, that A-Town is the smallest school in the state of Illinois that has a boys soccer team. Is that right?
We're the small school that doesn't co-op.
That doesn't
boys
co-op.
Soccer, boys football. So yeah, we don't have boys swimming yet, or you say girls tennis. But other than that, we have all the same high school sports.
That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Can you imagine that? With what do you have? 180 kids?
We have 275.
275. So 275. South Fulton had one here.
Okay, so out of the 275 kids you have reached, how many kids are out for at least one sport?
In the fall?
Yeah.
I think 115, 120.
All right, so that, if we have 660 kids, which we don't really have 660 kids in our hallways.
IHSA says you do.
IHSA does, yes. But if we could get that percentage of kids out, but we also have a really robust theater program. We have a strong marching band program. We have FFA that is just really exploding. So we there's not a lack of opportunity for students at Macomb High School.
Yeah, and really, I think people forget, no matter the size of school anymore, it seems like opportunity is not lacking at any school either. And Shelby sees that from all the time that you spend out on the road, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like down at Rushville, for example, they've had, they started their baseball, junior high baseball, softball, what's it been, 3 or 4 years ago. And, and there again, they got junior high cross country. They got junior high football. And, and then like the high school, they got golf, cross country, football, volleyball. So, I mean, they got plenty going on there too. And they're roughly about the size of A-Town. So.
So is it, from an athletic director standpoint, is it nice having all these programs going on for a school your size?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it gives the kids more chances. I mean, you always wish you could have some more kids in each, each sports and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, we also do trap shooting, which gives some kids, which they can work around that with their schedules and all the fall sports. We let kids play 2 sports at A-Town. We got some cross-country guys that do soccer, and one does football. I don't think we have any soccer football players this year. Yeah, we let them do a little bit of everything, and yeah, I mean, we'd obviously like more, but we're pretty happy with the numbers we have.
Coach Horrell, I think you're just would probably echo that to some extent, is that it's obviously you're spreading kids thin because of all the things you have, but you want to have all the things you have because it's good for the kids, right?
Absolutely. When we had our class meetings last week, the first day of school, and when we went in, and the biggest point to our freshmen were get involved in something. Okay, obviously I'm the athletics and activities director, and I want you in there. But you can be in band, you can be in choir, you can be in thespians, you can be in FFA, or we have all these 19 varsity sports that you could be involved in, even if you don't play. you can be part of that team.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember back in my day, the story, I got awful lousy, but I mean, I was still like a manager for a couple of years. You know, there's other things outside just the team itself, you know, as far as the periphery and being part of that team.
Correct.
I'll be the first one to admit, I was in junior high. I love sports. I love playing sports, but I hate to run. So I'm one of those guys that can play basketball all day and not care, or play football all day, but I would never go just run for fun. Does that make any sense? So when track season rolled around, I didn't want to be in track because I didn't want to run all the time. But I did see that he needed a manager. So the manager doesn't have to run, but he gets to leave school early and do all the things the team does without having to do all the running for track. So I spent 3 years as a track manager in junior high. I learned a ton. I did do a few events, but there's a lot of bonuses to being a manager too. There really is.
Absolutely, and usually the best free throw shooter on a basketball team is a manager, because when they're at one end scrimmaging, the manager's at the other end shooting free throws.
Yeah, well, I didn't manage basketball. I played until like high school, but I did the thing that you talked about. I pretty much quit playing sports in high school because when I entered high school, I was 5'6" and didn't figure I was going to grow any. But FFA was my thing, right? And now everything I do is because I learned to speak in FFA. I learned not to be nervous about speaking and all those things you learn. So you can love sports and still do other things too.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And part of that can be, you know, go to the game, support your classmates, you know, be part of the student section. I mean, that's all part of it too.
I want to point out both you guys have good student sections, especially the farther along in the postseason you get, the better they get.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously I went to Macomb High School, so I was part of the Orange Crush in high school. So, I mean, student sections can help win basketball games.
And your kids are loud, sometimes obnoxious.
Yes.
To the point of being loud, obnoxious, but they tend to behave themselves pretty well.
They know where the line is, and they go right to that line. And you know, I will turn my head and laugh, you know, because you
don't want to laugh, let them know you think it's funny.
Yeah, because they come up with some pretty good things, and a couple of years ago in the playoffs, there was some sidewalk chalk that I really loved, and my wife Trish said, you got to keep it, but I had to go get the bucket of water and the broom and get rid of it because it was just, you know.
You know, as an athletic director, you guys end up being the person in charge at a lot of events, right? That has to be tough because as an adult, you see things and you're like, I absolutely 100% agree with that. But as the guy in charge, I have to say, no, that's not right.
Let me tell you something. This guy down here was an athlete when I coached.
Yep.
His teammate is a principal in Kiwani.
Yep.
Now, they could have been the two honoriest kids in the class, and probably, right? I know that I was not an angel in high school. So
I was an angel.
So there's it is. You know, so it's like I know that Reed anticipates what's coming from his kids because everything that they're gonna do, he has already done.
Yeah, I try to tell him that. Like, as I've known the cheers, all that stuff. We like, you know what? I think student sections from when I'm in school to now have gotten a lot better, a lot easier. Of course, social media makes it now easier to find some stuff on some opponents and stuff. But you know, for the most part, the kids are really good. We have a good student crowd, like you said, especially in the postseason. I think that super sectional girls game, I think we had 115 kids show up. So out of a school of 260, that's pretty good. And that's not including, I guess, the 15 girls on the court. So.
Yeah, and then the IHSA now is promoting student sections and actually having webinars for student leaders. And our student section, the Orange Crush, they meet every week with our principal and myself. This is our theme for this week during football or during basketball. On Tuesday nights is, Friday night it's this. So, you know, they meet, and if we're going to be on the road, then I call ahead to the opposing AD and say, I need a section because we don't want to stick these kids right in the middle of everybody else. So please, you know, block off a section for us. And you know, they do the same with us.
And does it? I mean, that's like the fun thing about this deal, right? Getting the kids involved that aren't necessarily playing. That's like a side side fun thing for you guys, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think it's good also to get those kids involved. You know, their classmates see them out, the kids they went to school with their entire life. So it's good to see them going out and cheering them. We don't charge kids to come to the games, like it's free for any A-Town kid. So there's no reason for them not to be able to come to a game.
Exactly. Where anybody in school is free admission to all events, regular season. So yeah, we encourage kids. We don't have an activity fee, so we encourage kids to try new sports, try new activities. You know, once COVID came and we kind of saw a drop off, you know, obviously some people had some drop offs, but then our participation has went up since that time, since 2020, just simply because the district, the Board of Education has said we want kids back, we want them involved, so we're going to wipe away that participation fee.
Shelby, you've seen some ebbs and flows, and you've been around Macomb especially for a long time, and South Fulton area for a long time. And it's from the time when you and I started doing this, and you've been doing it a little longer than I have, the number of sports just keep growing, which has to, it not only makes our job a little more difficult because we have to find more time to do more things, but it has to make these guys' jobs harder too, don't you think?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, there's, you know, obviously more responsibilities for these guys. I mean, you know, officials, you know, as far as, you know, you got to find somebody to take money. You just, you know, there's, I'm sure, a bazillion other things that I'm not thinking of these guys got to do. And you know, I think sometimes a lot of people like to take that for granted, but, you know, I've been, you know, this is year 34 for me. So, yeah, I've seen a lot. And, yeah, these guys, you know, these guys got a lot on their shoulders, and gals, too. Don't want to leave them out, heaven forbid.
And then we're going to add, next year we're going to add a spot at the basketball table for shot clock operators.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
That's
I was going to, let's hit on two things from what Shelby brought up there. Let's talk about officials. How important is it to find some new blood in officiating from your guys' perspective? I mean, we hear officials talk about it all the time, but we don't very often get to hear the athletic directors talk about. I mean, I know you guys use assigners a lot for like basketball and football and stuff, but it's still having an official or finding an official is really hard sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, the HSA has started a program where they're letting high school kids, you know, do officiating younger and younger. Then they're giving them the first year free, so they don't have to pay whatever the fee is. So, I mean, I've had like 3 or 4 kids go through that, which has been really good. They've done some lower level games. I think one of them's worked for Coach Horrell down here. So, I mean, just getting those guys in, and, you know, like, if you ask me for an official, the high school game is probably the best place to start because, like, me and Coach Horrell are going to be there. We're going to control the crowd, right? You have administrators there. They're going to control it. You go to some of these youth games, like, it's pretty wild out there. So, like, I tell them, like, if you need to start someplace, we do JV baseball, junior high stuff. Like, it's a good place to start. Usually an administrator there can kind of control the crowd.
Right, and as Coach Kelso said, you know, we have high school students to do that. And just the other day, we had a junior high baseball, a young man who just graduated from Knoxville. I think his name.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. But he worked with a veteran official, and I couldn't tell that the kid was just graduating, and he's leaving and going to college in Wisconsin here this week. But I thought he did an amazing job. And again, we use assigners, but however. Like, I don't know, Coach Kelso, he's a little bit closer to the Quad Cities and Peoria, so soccer officials are what's tough for us. You know, trying to get somebody to drive to Macomb. You know, there's a few people in Quincy, but they can work every night of the week down in Quincy or in Hannibal area. But so to get soccer officials in Macomb is kind of tough, and so I've been working on some former players and saying, hey, you know what? You can make some good money. Just take the tests. Come through here and let's do this.
And that's the thing is officiating pay maybe at one time wasn't great, but it just continues to go up, it seems like, because it gets harder and harder to find them. And that's a thing that I think people don't consider when they look at all the stuff the school has to do, all that the equipment's expensive. But officiating is becoming expensive too, isn't it?
Yeah, officiating's expensive. There's not a lot of them, you know what I mean? And to get some crews in, like you said, we're fortunate we're closer to Peoria and the Quad Cities, so have a pretty easy time with officials. But yeah, I mean, like, to be an official is not a bad deal. You got to pick the nights you want. Usually you can kind of pick your crew once you get older, you know, and go hang with 2 buddies or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad side gig nowadays.
And we had a former official who had worked a state championship game 2 or 3 years ago, got out of it last year, got a football crew together again this year, and he did the new crew, and he did our scrimmage on Friday, or week 0 game against Jacksonville on Friday night. So, some of the guys are hanging around. Some of the guys are actually actively recruiting, and gals. We have great volleyball officials in this area. Great volleyball officials, and we had the IHSA. Julie Tierstrip came and did the clinic for volleyball officials at our place, and then we'll bring others in, and we're going to have the WCOA wrestling officials. They'll have a 2-night clinic down at Macomb here coming up in the end of October. So, anything that we can do for education of officials and recruitive of officials, we're going to do that and work with those guys and gals that, do us a great favor.
I know a year or two ago, we try to do a soccer game or two a year, it seems like, and there was one the first year when we were trying to do a soccer game with you guys. I can't remember if you had to do one with a short one official or we had to cancel a game because of an official. I mean, you guys have them, and then one person calls in sick, and you just can't find another one at the last minute, can you?
No, I mean, you're supposed to a 3-man crew or 3-person crew for soccer, and a lot of times we'll do 2, and then if we play a JV game afterwards, one of the guys or gals will probably bail out, and we'll just use 2 for the second game. But yeah, it's tough. And then we had a play-in game for the regionals one year, and we had to find officials, and it's like we're calling all over the state to get some guys to come here, and had a guy renew his license the week of just so he could do the game for us.
Do you guys have that problem much at all since you're a little closer to the QC and stuff?
No, I have a soccer assigner. He does a great job. We usually get the same guys from the Quad Cities. We have to pay. Soccer's the only officials we pay mileage to. So we have to pay them a traveling fee. So if you're from Macomb and you want to do a Macomb soccer game, you're gonna get $25 for the travel across town, which probably covers your travel that day. So soccer is not a bad deal. But yeah, we usually have most of the times we get 2. And they just kind of split it up.
I'm telling you what, Coach, if I'm going to officiate, I'm going to officiate either cross country, because I shoot the gun, I count how many people take off, I shoot the gun, and I count how many people come back. That's pretty good, but but I'm sure there's a lot of stress there. Or volleyball. You're inside out of the weather. Now, volleyball officials, I love you, but you're inside out of the weather, you don't have to run, and you get to do over.
You get a redo if you mess it up.
Yeah?
Replay.
Yeah, that's true.
So now let's go to the other side of, you got the officials covered, ticket takers, scoreboard operators. I mean, and concession stands have to work. You have to have the programs done. I mean, there's so many things. And then, like you mentioned, we're adding another thing to the basketball scores table with the shot clock. I know Bushnell's had problems at times finding help. Do you guys have those problems sometimes? You've been pretty lucky with yours, and I think you've been pretty lucky with yours too, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I've had the same crew for basketball for the last 5 or 6 years. I usually don't have any problem getting workers. Our booster club runs our concession stands, and we just have teams work it. They have a team and the coach, and they get a piece of the proceeds. So it's a good way. I know for the girls' basketball team did every boys' basketball game last year. So it's a good way for them to earn money for their programs, and it gets those kids there and involved and kind of helping out and everything. So we've been very fortunate that way.
Yeah, we're much like Coach Kelso. We have a core group that has done basketball and football for us. Dan Nutt and Randy Ames have been there. And Kelsey Carl's helped out tremendously, but I think we're going to lose her because she's getting married here in October. Maybe we can recruit her husband to help out and do the shot clock. If Will's listening, we can get that in there. But
start that right now.
It's never too early to start.
Yeah. Our concession stand is a booster club. They do it, and we lean on the booster club a ton, because our budget hasn't went up as much as prices have went up. So Bomber Booster Club, if anybody's out there and is looking to join the Bomber Booster Club, get in there. They can always use your help. We can use your help. Okay? They do our concession stands. We used to, ticket takers is what's a little tougher now. So, we've got, trying to work out a plan with the Chamber of Commerce of maybe having some different businesses. You come and, tonight, ticket takers. We have a sign from Sports Corner with 124, or wherever we're who's going to be there that night. So we're working on a couple different angles that way.
Booster clubs, I think, have become like the driving force for a lot of concession stands. It seems like I know BPC does that. I think West Prairie's is that way. That's something that I think booster clubs have always been a part, Shelby, but they seem to be becoming more and more a part of keeping the wheel turning, so to speak.
Well, I think it goes back to a little bit about what Steve says, with the way prices and everything keep going up. I mean, the booster clubs have had to kind of, take on a little bit more responsibility as far as, handling some of that stuff. So I know down at Rushville they have different groups or whatever, different games or whatever, whether it's like class or whatever or a sports team or whatever. They do have somebody different do it pretty much every game. So, but, I mean, it's like Coach Horrell said, I mean, anybody out there wants to join boosters no matter where you're from, Macomb, A-Town, Rushville, Southwold, wherever, I mean, the more people that are there to help, the better off everything is.
Another thing that Coach Kelso mentioned, they let their kids play a couple sports. I know that there was a couple girls that played golf and volleyball last year, if my memory serves me correctly. Is that right?
Right now we have a golf volleyball. We have volleyball cheerleader. We have a cross-country dance. In the past, we, especially with the Johnson boys, we had soccer, football. This year our kicker decided he just wants to be a kicker and it's not going to play soccer this year. But we've always had that great relationship. And how we work that out, and I don't know how Coach Kelso does, is coaches, you guys get together, and parents, okay? You work it out. I don't want any part of this unless I have to be part of it, and then you
probably don't want me to be part of it.
No, you don't want me. You don't want me to assign. All right, so Johnny's going to go to this practice this day. He's going to go to this game this day. No, you guys work it out, and it tends to work very well.
The funniest thing about that, your volleyball golfer is Sophie Wilson, whose dad's the tennis coach, but she's not playing tennis.
Exactly.
Coach Kelso, it does take a lot of cooperation to do that kind of stuff, and we know that. But for the kids, as the AD and the coaches and the parents, you want to be able to figure that stuff out, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a really good working relationship. It's usually just in the fall we have crossover. We have cross-country runners this year, like I said, they're doing soccer and football, and thankfully all of our cross-country meets are on Saturday, so it really doesn't involve – there might be a soccer game here and there, but it really won't affect them that much. We do have girls who do volleyball and cheer, but cheer is just Friday nights, and we usually don't play volleyball on Friday nights. So, yeah, the coaches work it out. It's been really good. We've had soccer, football players before. That gets a little more difficult when you're playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday soccer. It's kind of hard to go to football practice. You know what I mean? Just kind of learn everything you need to learn for that week's opponent. But other than that, it works fine.
That's one of the things I think when I was in school, which was a long time ago, while I was in school, the girls used to be able to do basketball and cheerleading. But while I was in school, they made them choose. They stopped letting them do that. That became a thing at some point where you had to play one sport. You couldn't play two at a lot of places. I think maybe because of size, because of kids participating and stuff like that, now maybe that's switching back to letting them do a couple things at a lot of schools probably, or do you think you guys are a little outside the norm on letting them do two things?
I think there's a lot of schools probably have cheerleaders to do basketball and stuff like that. We didn't last year just because we didn't have any, cheerleaders want to do girls basketball. But, yeah, I think that's pretty normal across the board.
And I think it's normal, and also competitive cheer has evolved.
A lot.
It's not sideline cheer, on Friday nights, Tuesday night, Friday night from basketball. Now they are working year round for that competitive cheer part in January, February. So that adds another thing to it.
I think probably maybe a bigger quote unquote conflict, if you will, is, and I'm sure you guys deal with it here. I don't know how much in A-Town necessarily, but you got kids that are in like cross country or something, and then they got a band competition that same day. I remember that's always been the case. since I first started here back in the 90s, where you had kids doing band or whatever, but they also did sports, and a lot of times things were, competitions or whatever the same day.
Last year, during our week before Thanksgiving basketball extravaganza for the girls, our starting center was also the lead in the fall play, so missed 2 games that week.
Remember
Right.
that.
Yep.
And that's something Macomb, I think, is maybe a little different. Is there any other school in the area that does competitive cheer?
There are a couple. There's a couple. I think Monmouth does it. I think Farmington does it. Knoxville has a big program.
Yeah, and Knoxville and Farmington are usually the hosts for that, the sectional part. So, yeah, they do, yeah.
So, but as far as our schools go, you're really the only one. But your dance team is just as active as the cheer team, really, because the dance team does a lot of stuff, too, and they dance. And I don't even know, do you guys have a dance team anymore?
No.
Like, very few schools even have enough girls to do a dance team, and you guys have very large scale both.
Right, and again, dance team has evolved. It used to be pom-pom girls, is what they called it. Back in the day, the pom squad or whatever. And so, yes, they are very active. They're at football, they're at boys basketball, they're at girls basketball, and then they go to competition. And dance competition is, it's not as many as competitive cheers. Therefore, we go like to Effingham or to Bethalto. That's how far we have to travel for our sectional meet for that.
Yeah, I laugh with, you talk about that with Rushville. In their case, a lot of the dance girls and cheerleaders, they double dip that way because it like perform at the boys' games. So, like, they'll cheer the first quarter and go get dressed for the halftime dance, and then they'll come back in the third quarter and be back on the sidelines cheering. So
It's kind of like watching the JV game and going in or playing the first half of the JV game, going in and get ready for the varsity game, right?
Or looking up at halftime, and there's your starting right tackle with a tuba.
Yeah, I can remember that happening. A lot of kids leaving at halftime to go to the band. I can remember Coach Sears not being happy about it sometimes.
The other thing is the fresh soft kids that play varsity that don't necessarily play a lot of varsity. And then maybe they do it at your school some too, but your band is a little bigger. This, like BPC, there used to be always 2 or 3 boys in their football uniform,
Right.
shoulder pads and all, out marching at halftime.
Yep.
I mean, and that's kind of the stuff that you guys have to make sure happens, right? I mean, if that's what they're going to do, you guys, that's part of your job is to make sure that stuff goes off, right?
Right, and at some point, though, we also say you got to make a decision. We love that you can be involved, and when you're a freshman and sophomore and you're down at the fresh soft level, the freshman level, well, this is really great. When you get to the varsity level, though, we may need to look at picking something.
What are you smiling about down there?
I've heard that before. That's not the first time I've heard that problem. I didn't play in the band, so I didn't have that problem. But there was plenty of times there was guys that left, and they're out there in their full uniform, and
Yeah. That's
it's hard to make adjustments when your right guard and your left guard are both out there on the drums.
Out on the drums. What, you don't think they can march, or they march with the drum, or what?
Oh, they could.
What are you
They
trying
were
to
really
say
good
there?
at it. Coach Sears and Coach Horrell probably would like to have them at halftime.
I remember one year down when Carthage was playing the state championship game, and they always had both bands
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And there would be a couple football players out with the band at halftime
Yep, at the state championship.
at state championship game.
Student athlete.
Yeah, that's that's what you say that, and you say it with a smile, and we're kind of being joking about it, but that's what they are, right?
Absolutely.
And that's where your guys' jobs kind of cross, right? Or with the book side and the sports side, you're kind of that middle person in there, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the HSA has eligibility. We have eligibility to run every week, so it's really important for us to make sure everybody's making grades. I try to stay on some of the kids, that we see them on the eligibility report. But, yeah, I mean, just making sure, like, they're students first. Like, they go to school first. Like I tell my kids, that's your job right now. Just go to school and get straight A's. So, like, in my job, like, that's what you're supposed to do. Then sports are, like, a bonus, I guess. Extracurricular is what they're called.
And I can't tell you, and I know that Coach Kelso has seen this too, how many times sports have saved a kid from failing. Now, at the end of the season, we still keep track of them. Our coaches monitor, 12 months of the year. Our kids, 10 months of the year, their grades. So, a kid's going to stay eligible. they're going to keep their grades up because they want to play.
And it's different now, right? Because if you fail a semester, you can't play a sport. IHSA says you can't play the next sport the next semester. Is that an IHSA rule or a school rule?
I think that's an IHSA rule.
It is with us. We go by semester. Some schools used to go by quarter. And we actually are more strict with ours because we have a no pass, no play. IHSA, you have to be passing 5 core subjects.
Yes.
Okay? You have to pass everything at Macomb High School.
Is that the way you guys are too, or is it the 5?
We follow the IHSA rules. We used to do something before COVID. It was a little more stringent than kind of once COVID came out, we're just going to stick to what the IHSA is kind of putting out there. But, yeah, I mean, we rarely have anybody ineligible. I'll be perfectly honest. I can't think of the last time we had somebody actually, an athlete that was ineligible.
You talked about a kid or kids that you keep up with. There's a kid on this poster here that played football his senior year that I think didn't play earlier, and part of that was just to stay in the flow of things and have a reason to be there, right?
Exactly, and was a great contributor
to that football team.
To that football team. Went on, is playing in the college level right now, but also I know that our football coach did an amazing job of dealing with things outside of the X's and O's and got things straight and got things great and carried over to the basketball season.
You guys have both been coaches, and I think that's the thing that's lost from the general public looking at coaches is what they do for kids. And how not only you're keeping track of the kids and you're making sure they're passing, but just being there. And you talk to kids a lot more than just about the X's and O's, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, as a football coach, you're trying to give them life lessons, you know what I mean, kind of get them ready for the world a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, you have a lot of interactions with kids, man. There's a lot of different levels, and it varies from kid to kid what the home life is. And, at a public school, we get whoever comes through the door. So, like, you just take what you can, kind of do what's best for them. But, yeah, like Cheryl said, we've had a couple kids that I know they've played, and they've been able to graduate because of sports. Kept them in school.
And then the rewarding things, and I know that Coach Kelso gets at anybody that's ever coached, is the kids that come back. The kids that say, hey, thank you. Or, what can I do for you now? I'm a successful adult. I got a couple extra dollars in my pocket. How can I help, the program? And, so just the Christmas cards and the wedding invitations, the college graduation invitations, and things that we get that, it's because you're with these kids a lot. And, sometimes you're a surrogate parent. Sometimes you're an amateur psychologist. Sometimes you're a counselor. Okay? Sometimes you need a boot. Sometimes you need a Band-Aid. And that's your call as the adult, the mentor, and to figure out who needs what.
Shelby, it sounds like you when you were training me. Sometimes you needed the boot, and sometimes not very often Band-Aid until after you use the boot, maybe. But.
Well, got to do what you got to do. You were fine. Hey, there's been a lot of times in my life I've needed a boot a lot more than a Band-Aid too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's for sure. Through your years, you've dealt with tons of ADs, of course, through the years.
I've seen a few.
And us, you and I, with what we do, we see how important athletic directors are, and more importantly, organized and efficient athletic directors. And these two guys are pretty good at what they do, but we have a pretty decent group in our area right now, but it just continues to evolve and change, it seems like.
Well, and that evolves, and as that kind of other stuff evolves, these guys have adaptation is part of the process. And I mean, even it goes with us as far as what we do, and what we've got to do to adapt, and as far as like getting results or getting things set up, for you, like doing the broadcast or whatever. This day and age, everything's evolved so fast that you can't afford to let off the gas a little bit, because if you do, you're going to get left behind. That's not going to be good.
Yeah, things that have evolved. How many nights did you spend on the phone calling in football stats? Did you ever have to do that?
No.
No.
No, it was at that point in time, it was done. And when I was coaching, we had Rouser.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
You
were spoiled.
We were spoiled.
The number
And
used to be on the wall right next to Coach Sears' desk for the new, like on in Sharpie.
Yep.
I mean, it was easy to call. It was right there.
yeah, as a wrestling coach, yes, I would call scores in, and usually I would have a score sheet. And back then it was you would fax stuff, and then you got to where you would scan it. And technology. I type with two fingers. And how many letters have I sent out or emails about the volleyball tournament because I've screwed it up?
3 maybe?
I don't know. At least it's like, oh, don't look at that one because like I said, technology's tough.
Hey,
It's tough.
I want to tell you guys something. This guy right here, this one right here, might be the fastest hunt and pecker typer you've ever seen in your life. Am I wrong?
I remember walking over in that
Shelby.
right over there and watching him.
Dude, you type like 40 words a minute and only use like 3 or 4 fingers.
Well, guilty as charged, I guess. I mean, it's just how I am. That's just how I roll. So
He types faster than me that way. I'm telling you, and makes less mistakes too.
You gotta have a good teacher. I think I had Mrs. Potter was my teacher, so I learned to type the correct way.
I had Miss Kravac.
Oh, yeah.
And Miss Kravac said, I know typing is frustrating, so if you ever need to get a drink of water or whatever, just go do it, okay? Well, I took that as an invitation. And all right, so y'all talking about being old. I'm the oldest one here, okay? I had learned how to type on a typewriter.
So did I.
None of this type it in and turn. So we had to type it out with our name on it and turn it. Julie Rezab sat in front of me, and that girl, wherever she is, bless you, she could type so fast. She typed her assignment, my assignment, turned them both in, and that's why I type with 2 fingers.
When I typed on it, now mine was an electric typewriter. It wasn't manual. Was yours electric or manual?
I'm not that old. We had electricity.
Okay, well, they've had electricity for a long time. I had an electric typewriter, but it didn't have delete. So you had to have the little
whiteout.
You had the little whiteout strips that you'd backspace, put the strip in, hit the same key, and it would cover it with whiteout.
I had to move my thing back.
No, we had return. We did have enter. It would go back itself.
What the hell has this got to do with sports?
I don't know. Just showing how old you are, I guess.
well, I'm not much younger than you, so it's kind of like I took typing in college, and it was like. The guy was like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't look up that. I did that. She'd just get so mad at me. I'm like, look, man. I said, I can't do that fancy stuff, man. It's just and that's just
this guy right here is probably the only one of us that learned to type on a computer.
Yes. Yep. Computer lab.
Yeah. So he really did cheat. All he had to do is, I think I can find the delete button on a computer keyboard now faster than I can find any other button. Keyboard is the delete button. delete.
Yep.
Anyway, let's get back to sports. But that kind of went off the rails for a few minutes. As you guys get ready for the fall season, it's kind of some of it has started, but we really get it in earnest here this week. Does anything still make you nervous getting into this first week to make sure everything's going to work? I mean, you do have a new volleyball coach, even though she's not new to the program. She's a new head coach. And you got new coaches in a few other places. Does anything make you nervous as you enter into the busy part of the fall season?
There's always anxiety. Just like you can be as coaches, you are going to be well prepared and you know everything you wanted to get done this week. But if you don't have those butterflies, that anxiety, I don't know. It's you don't want to be calm about it. But we hit the ground running. Like week 1, 18-team boys golf tournament yesterday. Next week, 16-team girls volleyball tournament. Week after that, girls invitational swim meet. Now that's just on Saturdays. But then you throw in Friday nights preparation, you throw in tennis, you throw in the other golf meets in the cross-country meet that, and right now the weather, just are we going to practice? And, Whoa. Tell me about. I'm trying to see.
Injury. It's going to be Coach Orrell falling off, break a hip.
Tell me the story about you in the heat. Coach Orrell was telling me about you in the heat.
I'm not real good in the heat. I'm not real good in any weather. Like I don't like. I'm kind of like the Goldilocks. The porter's got to be just right for Mr. Kelso. I don't go outside. But like
You were testing it with your shirt on, or
oh, yeah. Yeah, no, we have those testers out there. So
Coach Quinn was telling us you should demonstrate how you did that. Something about no shirt, holding the tester in the air.
No, I had a shirt on. I'm pretty sure. He thought it was pretty funny that I was testing, though. Yeah, that's all new. We never had to do that back when I played.
No, that's a concern, you know. I mean, 2 years ago we moved our 7:00 game back to 8:00 because of that. Obviously, the turf adds some temperature to things, so we're on grass the first 2 weeks, so that shouldn't be a problem. We moved our cross-country meet this Wednesday was from 4:30 to a 6:00 start, just in anticipation of the heat there. So yeah, that's that and concussions and it's just other things that you don't think about as a coach that now you're thinking as an administrator.
You talk about the weather. I mean, you guys try to control everything you can, but the weather's one thing. Your stuff, it's going to do what it's going to do. So, I mean, at that point, it's up to you guys to adjust to make things work.
Yeah, absolutely. The fall's not so bad. I think spring's the worst time for the weather. But, yeah, I mean,
You can play football in the rain, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's always anxiety starting the school year off with new sports and everything. Just is everything going to work on Friday night? Is my school board going to stay lit up? I have to paint the field, so I have some fields to paint this week. I have a soccer field to paint and a football field to paint. So I got some work ahead of me this week.
Is that the other duties as prescribed?
Yeah, we'll call them that.
So I see on Facebook all the time when I'm going through the ads these machines that you.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Do you have one of those?
So I do have a machine that paints the field. It's very nice. It's awesome.
Listen to him. I got to paint the field. I got a machine that does it.
Well, so
I just go push a button and it just goes to.
You got to fill it with paint, but then like. Hey.
My job is so hard, guys.
I do all the filling in. So all the yellow letters in the end zone in the middle, I fill it all in. I paint that. So I have to do that sometime this week.
Thank goodness you're not the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I thought about that last year, checkerboard in my end zone, but that seems like a lot of work for one guy.
So your field's hard to paint, isn't it?
Alex Roberts is a master, and so much so that our sales rep stopped in. 2 years ago we got all new orange because warranty work it had faded, and so ATG came in and said we're replacing this 4 fields. Boom, and then when he came to look at it, he's like, "This is the best field at this point in the life of it that I've ever seen," because Alex Roberts and his crew are out there religiously. Every Wednesday, the PE department knows we're not doing that. No, you're not out there on Wednesday morning because Alex is going to sweep and maintain that field, and I think that goes back to the entire district. If you look at our schools today, we had the National Guard send off out there, and a woman commented on the building and says, "Is this a new building?" I said, "No, it was built in 1974." The upkeep of our facilities have been just because of people planning ahead and staying one step ahead of whatever's going to go wrong there. But yeah, our field, we're blessed with that, and then the new press box, we're happy with the facilities.
Yeah, the press box is fantastic out at Macomb. Theirs is all new. Your guys is not real old, is it? I mean, your bleachers are pretty nice.
Yeah, they're nice. We've done a good job maintaining our stuff. We redid our field a couple years ago, sod and kind of a sprinkler system. So the grass is, you're not going to find a nicer grass field probably for football than ours. Yeah, I mean, facilities, like the shot clock, that's a big facility upgrade. Those weren't cheap. Macomb's got 3 gyms they probably had to put them into. So, facilities are big, and it's kind of something you got to plan for. But, yeah, I know we're trying to do something with our baseball team right now, get something new. But, yeah. I mean, facilities help.
I was with BPC and Coach Arnold when we undertook replacing the infield grass and putting new baseline grass in and stuff. And I'll tell you what, that was, you don't realize what a field's like until you tear the grass off of it, and then you realize that third base was 6 feet or 2 feet lower than first base, and then when you need a whole bunch of dirt to get it level, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into field maintenance, and you're talking about painting, and you're talking about the crew that you have helping you out there and does all your guys' maintenance for you on the fields, and you know, your crew, your maintenance crew, 3 or 4 strong every night. You know, the janitors coming in as soon as the game is over, help cleaning the bleachers, pushing the bleachers in. I mean, and yours is the same way generally. You can tell the schools that have the nice stuff have the crews that take a love for the program and stuff too.
Exactly, and then and I know Coach talked about the spring being a little more hectic and whatnot. We don't even print the pocket schedules in the spring because it's going to change so frequently. And then again, with our baseball field and our softball field, our players, our coaches, as soon as the game's over, they're filling in holes. They're getting, they're taking pride in maintaining, their things there. And then we have John Ogle, who comes out and mows it every other day, it seems like. And Chris Stuffelbeam will help him out. And he does both the baseball and the softball field. And those are guys just that are parents of former players that just come out and help because they love to do it and they want to see it look nice.
And I'm sure you guys have a lot of parents that help with different things, maybe not mowing or whatever, but parents are the key, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have really good parents that they do a lot of stuff for the kids, just getting them to practice, getting them ready for the games, all that stuff. They do a lot. We do, obviously, football. Mom's doing dinner on Thursday nights. Volleyball does a lot. But, yeah, I mean, it's important for the parents to pitch in and come back and be helpful.
We talked about the good student bodies you guys have. One of your guys' jobs as administrators is keeping the parents under control too, right? Which is sometimes maybe the harder part of the whole deal. As you go into this season with football and volleyball and then into basketball for the winter, what's your message to parents about, hey, these are your kids playing, and the officials aren't always going to be right necessarily, but we need to conduct ourselves in a manner that's not only keeps you from getting in trouble, being the parent, but looks good for the kids in the school too, right? Are you guys willing to say anything about that?
Yeah, you always want the parents to and be respectful. They're all kids. At the end of the day, they're kids. They're going home. They're coming back to school tomorrow to learn. Like, at the end of the day, most of them aren't going to college to play sports. You know what I mean? Like, the majority of my kids are not going to college to play sports, right? So at the end of the day, I'll be honest, I've never had to throw anybody out yet. So, knock on wood, I'm sure this year they'll be like 15. But
You're welcome.
I've had really good parents. Coach Roll's been around McCollum a long time, so he knows probably everybody. I've been at Abington now for 8 years, so I kind of, you know what I mean? You kind of know the parents now. My kids are in school, so I know a lot of those kids that way. Their older brothers, stuff like that. I know the parents. So my parents have been really good. I haven't really had a lot of issues with them. So hopefully they keep that up and go from there.
I agree with Coach Kelso on that, and being a father and a coach of high school athletes through, they're all have all graduated, and Coach is going to go through this here in a few years, and the message that we try to get out to parents are, you have one team member that you're fixed on, and you really want this, you want this. This coach has 40 football players. Okay, he's looking out for a whole team. This coach has 15 volleyball players. She's looking out for the best of the team, and I understand that you really want your child to play. Okay, and our coaches do a great job of having preseason meetings, explaining this is where we're going to go, this is how we'll handle disagreements, and usually, it's one of those things. Sometimes you get like at parent-teacher conferences when, little Johnny went home and told Mom that my teacher said this, and then, that's not exactly what the teacher said, and then come back and the teacher said, my mom said that I could do this, and my mom didn't say that either. So, it's you got to get them together and get the message across, and what really happened. Somewhere, he said, she said, and it's probably somewhere in the middle there.
I always said when I started doing journalism that you can't write a story from what one person tells you, because if you talk to one person, you get one story. You talk to another person, you get the other story. you put both of them in the paper, but you know that somewhere in the middle is the actual truth, right? I had a football coach tell me the other day that a kid said that he was needed at home for something. Well, they saw the mom, and the mom said, well, thanks for letting him come home the other day. So he played both of them, right? He played them both to get the day off of practice.
Yeah,
you know?
but back to the parents. So we have great parents in McCall, and like anything that the one time that something happens, that's what's going to stick out. You don't see the other 7 minutes of the game when things were going smooth. You just see that 1 minute when somebody gets upset. Or somebody does something that they know they shouldn't have did and regret it as soon as they did it most of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and I think you can say that about most parents or kids that get in trouble or get kicked out of any game. They look back and like, man, I probably shouldn't have done that, right? But it's a moment of maybe a moment of weakness, you might say, or whatever. But
I think maybe sometimes it might come a little later than right after it happens.
Yeah.
They may need a little time to go
calm down,
reflect on things.
Yeah, and I do a lot of racing officiating, and you get parents come up, I can't believe you didn't see that. Parents in the stands also need to look at it not only from how the coach is playing your kid, but when your kid's on the floor, a referee is looking at a whole lot of things, not just your kid. And it's easy to see what happens to your kid when you're only watching your kid. So you have to take into consideration, we try to put officials in positions to make every call, but there's still so many things going on that you're not going to see absolutely everything.
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they're doing the best they can out there. They're not. They usually have no. Sometimes the officials show up, they don't even know who we're playing. Like, who are you guys playing tonight? So they're just there to officiate the game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Sometimes I think the parents don't even know who they're playing.
Yeah, but maybe.
I run into that quite often at Rushville and say, well, who are they playing tonight? And I got to tell them.
It's on the program. That's one of the things. You guys have a good program on your stuff. You guys always have some sort of a program. But that's something that's your responsibilities too, right?
Yes.
Is that, well, you have not your, I know it's not your responsibility because you have somebody who does most of your work for you anyway. I mean, this guy here is probably gets the most accolades of any athletic director that does the least of any athletic director because you've got some fantastic help that's kind of kept pushing you along, haven't you?
Mary Beth Carl is amazing. All right, she works with Royal Publishing.
Yep.
I write my letter. She grabs all the cut lines. She grabs all the rosters. She puts it all together. When she's not there, I'm not sure what I'm doing.
Sometimes I wonder if you're sure what you're doing when she's there. I mean, I don't ever know what I'm doing, so it's just I'm just there talking about whatever I watch. You guys use Royal Publishing too, don't you?
We do. So we'll do team photos Thursday. So I will send that all off to them Friday, and hopefully I have them by the next week.
That's right there is something that has changed. He probably doesn't even understand, but
yeah, I mean, so I understand. Like, technology's made the AD job a lot easier. Like, if this was back in the day where you had to send like contracts and letters, I probably wouldn't be great at that.
Wait a minute. Do you still get the hard copy contracts from a couple different ADs?
Yeah, I send those out too every now and then.
Oh man, and there's like keep and sign. Or keep and return. Timmy does that all the time, and Dave retired at Valley. Elliot used to do it from Beardstown. And it's like, man, I sign it, scan it, and email it back. Because.
So here's where I was going with that. He said he's and Shelby, you'll appreciate this because I'm sure you heard what he said too. They'll take the team pictures on Thursday. I'll get the pictures on Friday. And I'll send them out.
Actually, I'll have the pictures like 5 minutes after they're done. He puts them on a CD for me, and I'm going to download them.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to attach them to a big email, and I'm going to send them off, and hopefully it's all right.
You remember back in the day that you'd take the film photo, they'd send it off to get it developed, then they'd come back and bring you a hard copy for you to send in to get done.
Well, even coaching. I started when we had when I was playing, we had 16 millimeter film that had to go into the overnight and get picked up on Saturday morning. Then we went to VHS, and we'd have to drive halfway and meet a coach. And then it went to DVDs or CDs, and we'd meet and drive them. Now you just hit huddle, and it's boom.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think technology's been great that way. Like you guys live streaming everything. It's been great for some of my parents and grandparents that may go to Florida for the winter, you know what I mean, or just can't. They're at work, they can't make it to the game. Like, I think that's been a great thing for high school. It's hurt our revenue. Like people come to the games, absolutely, but the whole goal is so the community can see the kids play.
Well, guys,
Coach, yes, it has, but no, it hasn't hurt our revenue because maybe they're saying, well, I've been hearing about this basketball team. They're okay. And so then they watch it, and it's like, dang, I got to get there because they see the crowd and they see how electric it is. So it has helped some, but yes, has it Friday night and it's a little drizzly, I can stay home and watch this.
When the roads are a little bad,
Yeah.
when it's cold outside or it's rainy, those are the nights it really hurts. But I can tell you from doing racing stuff and letting people watch, even though you charge to get into races, letting people watch will do exactly what you said. If the teams are good and they get to see them, they'll come watch them.
Yep, absolutely.
And again, to echo what Coach Kelso said, you guys are somebody that we can count on. You've been great for us through the years. We've been doing this since 7, 8 years now. It's been great. Back as a coach, you guys were great with us. I really appreciate what you do, and then we got Shuck and Chris and Brendan. So yeah, we're very happy, and I can't tell you thank you enough.
Well, that's one of the things that's I'm interested to see is Muddy Rivers is probably with Chris Dewar going to Muddy Rivers is pretty exciting, really. I'm excited to see what they do as far as that gives him open reign to do his thing that Chris Dewar is so good at.
Right. And Shuck will be up here week 3 when we play IDub for Shuck on a Truck. Actually, Shuck was a student at Quincy High when, my first or second year coaching down there. And then he went down to Mizzou where Chris also went to school, and yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things but Shelby, we talked about you working with so many ADs through the years. Maybe of all the coaches and ADs that are still around, you probably have the most contact through the years with Coach Horrell.
I'd be right up there, no question. I mean, I started in '92, and when did you?
We came home in '94.
Yeah, I was going to say, it wasn't very long after that. You guys were back here. So.
But I knew you through even being in Quincy because my brother was doing the radio and covered sports, and so I knew you there then too.
Yeah,
so.
I remember your brother and I spent a lot of time out at Coach Ball's office out in Western. We do like football previews every week for the Western games. So so you're talking over 30 years. Yeah, that's a long time.
That is a long time. And then you got Reed. What year did you graduate high school?
03.
Gee, Christmas. He's a young pup, isn't he?
40. I'm 40 now. I'm getting older.
You are getting gray. Is that because of kids, wife, or school?
I have three girls that are doing a good job of routing the black into gray right now. Like I took them out to TJ Maxx last night, and that was that was a mistake.
Yeah. At least you still got hair at this point.
Yeah, they were all angry, so I just took them out to Mexican and TJ Maxx, and it kind of made them happy. So
yeah, but it also made your pocketbook angry.
Yeah, it's gonna get worse as they get older. So
yours is white.
Silver.
Silver, is that what yours is?
Well,
so is that because of the other Coach Horrell that's out there now? Is that
other
can
coach?
We blame that on
No. That other Coach Horrell was smooth sailing.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah,
well, we won't point out who it was then.
No.
Let's leave it alone.
Well, now with 7 grandsons and 2 granddaughters.
Yeah. I was around that crew the other night. That's a lot of kids. We got 11 in my family. That's still a lot of kids.
They got a baseball team over here.
Yeah, we were like that at one point. There's a lot of little kids there.
There's nothing wrong with that. Guys, before I let you go, and Shelby, do you have anything you want to ask either one of them in particular?
There was one thing I was wanting to broach with you guys was I've kind of noticed lately a trend, and it's not just you, or not probably necessarily just you, but how a number of these coaching positions are being filled by non-teachers, and I just kind of wanted to know what some of your thoughts were on that, because I know like a couple jobs for you, it's like you've hired people that aren't necessarily teachers in the district, but I mean obviously are local here or whatever.
Correct. And,
Thinking about this answer very carefully.
there are a couple different reasons, and unfortunately, we lost coaches that became administrators over there. Coach Boehner, Coach Roosh, Coach Weston. Okay, they've taken that next step along the way. Whether it be we don't have the teaching positions available, because, there for a while, it was tough to find teachers, no less.
Yes.
Okay? So we've got some coaches that have been with us a long time that are non-faculty. We have some faculty. I think Ryan Wilson could be the longest serving that we have right now, or close to it, with the tennis program. But we fill our swim coaches is a faculty member. Our girls softball coach is going to be a faculty or a staff member. Our baseball coach is a new baseball coach is a teacher. Our soccer coach is a local minister. Okay.
That seems to be a common theme. Quincy, I think John Wood Community College's coach is a minister too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but yeah, we would love to have them in the building. We would love to have them in the district, but we're not going to just hire a coach just to hire a coach.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
You're not gonna hire a coach just to hire a teacher.
Yes.
Or a teacher to hire a coach.
And obviously we want that first. We want somebody in the system. But the ones that we have that are outside of the system do a great job for us and are there all the time. Okay?
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was a case where, like you say, when you bring in maybe some newer teachers or whatever, and maybe they don't necessarily have the interest to coach, or what the situation is.
Well, we hired a couple of teachers, actually former Bomber athletes this year that I'm still trying to get into the coaching ranks. But again, first year, they want to get that first year under their belt, and they don't want to take on too much. My own daughter-in-law is a new teacher. Okay, she just had a baby in January, so she resigned as assistant volleyball coach.
Right.
Okay, and that's a different reason,
Sure.
So for different reasons, we've had some openings. Yes.
Okay. All right.
We've been pretty lucky at A-Town this year. I think I have a new baseball coach, but he's the assistant coach from last year. So I think that's the only coach I had to replace this year. My coach is about half and half. In the fall, it seems like a lot of them are teachers, all that stuff. My volleyball coach obviously is not a teacher. And then in the winter, I think none of them are teachers, actually, now that I think about it, in the district. None of the head coaches, at least, which is fine. I mean, you want to hire good coaches, right? They've been doing it a long time. My basketball programs have been successful. We had a new wrestling coach. We started a wrestling program this year, so we had a new coach. And he's going to work in Galesburg. So, he's not in our district, but he's working with kids. So, yeah, coaching, it's hard to find coaches. Like, I can't remember the last time I got, 4 applicants for a job. Obviously you don't want to hire, you know what I mean, parents of the kids that are coming up, all that stuff. But sometimes you got to. In a small town, there's only so many people that can coach football or basketball or, you know what I mean, that actually can teach it and everything. It's just hard to find coaches.
And that's one of the go ahead.
Well, before we get out of here, and I've mentioned former Bombers and this and that, and I just want people to read how proud I am of you, of where you're at now. I mean,
thanks.
You did a great job, and you are one of the best ADs to work with in the area.
I appreciate that. I try. But yeah, I mean, like Coach said, I like coming back to Macomb. I come back to Bomber stuff all the time. I think it's important. Go back, support where you're from and all that stuff. But yeah, as far as coaching, it's just hard to find people. You want to find somebody that wants to do it. I'll be honest, I'm not coaching football this year. I couldn't do it anymore. I was just kind of burnt out. I just kind of wanted to just be an AD this year and not focus so much on, I get it. I tell the other, I totally understand. When coaches say I have 4 kids, I completely understand. So I am coaching junior high football this year, but that's all right. But yeah, I get the burn out. We ask a lot of coaches nowadays, whether it's year round, the summer's a lot. We kind of started a weightlifting program at school. I know Macomb does some weights at school, which kind of helps out a lot. But there's a lot that goes into coaching, and the pay is not great. If you ever work, I figured out my hours one year, and it was not a great number.
No, it's not. It's when you start throwing the summer stuff in there.
You also miss a lot of time. You got little kids, like you're gonna miss a lot of time. You know what I mean? Like there's 3 nights this week that I'm probably not gonna be home, right? Like my 2 older kids will come to the games, I'm sure, but like I got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old at home. You know what I mean? Like there's just a lot of nights you're gone. Like as a coach, like I get it completely. Like
And bless our wives.
yeah, my wife's
Okay,
same,
so it's
yeah.
one thing to be a coach's wife, okay, because you've got a season. Now you've got a school year.
Right.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, my wife does not like basketball season.
I don't even like basketball season anymore. It's every day it seems like, and it's long.
Yeah,
Basketball season
they're
seems
just-
so long.
There's a lot of nights. I like to go to everything, support the kids. But yeah, just as far as coaches go and like ADs, it's just there's a lot of nights you're not home. And once your kids get older, it's great. Like my son comes to everything, it's great. But yeah, I can understand why it's harder to find coaches nowadays than maybe it used to be.
That's one thing that we didn't mention. I know BPC, and I'm guessing you guys are in charge of finding those coaches, right? They have to be okayed by the board, but you guys collect the applications and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, we use committees.
Yeah. Okay.
I usually do the interviews. Usually, if it's like an assistant coach, I'll head coach. Sit in.
And coach, you'll find out. You talk about gym rats or anything. Remember our head football coach was on the sideline with you when he was 11 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took him to camp a couple years.
Yeah.
Learned some stuff there.
Yeah,
maybe
probably
maybe a
not
little
about
football too.
Not about football. Before we head out, things coming up you want to tell anybody about? I know you went through your sports.
Yeah, we
the
have
next week or two.
We have our the early bird cross country meet 6:00 at Spring Lake. Ryan Hansen does a great job with us out there. It's also our only home meet, so it'll be senior night. Then we, obviously we have football coming up. We have volleyball going to Jacksonville on Thursday, and then they're home for their tournament at Brophy Hall all day. Come on out and watch that. So, and tennis will be playing at home, I believe, against Moline this week. Girls swimming will go to Davenport on Saturday. So we got everything's going to get rolling this week, and boys and girls golf will be up at Merco.
Yeah, we're the same. Tomorrow night, my girls volleyball, they host Alleman for 3 matches. My girls golf goes to United tomorrow for our golf meet. Cross country goes to Farmington to run an invite tomorrow. And then the rest of the week, we have soccer goes to Beerstown Wednesday. Thursday, we host South Fulton for volleyball. And then Friday, we host Anawan Weathersfield, who should be pretty good this year. So it'd be nice to beat Anawan Weathersfield one of these years.
Soccer parents, we go to UT on Tuesday. I didn't forget you.
Well, Shelby, I knew when we got these two guys on that we'd be able to talk about a lot of things that I think people don't understand that necessarily goes on behind the scenes, because everybody talks football and then maybe volleyball, but you've been doing this so long, there is so much other stuff goes on.
Oh, absolutely. This week with me, it's been, previews all week, football, volleyball, talk to Coach Ingersoll for boys soccer, talk to Coach Wilson for tennis, I'm going to talk to Coach Hamer for swimming. So, yeah, it never ends, but you know what? It's what I do, and, I don't know what I'd do if I didn't do it. So I'd probably be, I don't know,
You'll
climbing a tree or
retire
something.
when?
The day I no longer breathe.
That's what he always says. When are you going to retire? When I'm not breathing anymore. And that's, you guys have both seen Shelby around long enough. I have zero doubt that that's going to be the case.
Exactly.
Well, everybody, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. You two, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And,
Thanks for having us.
Maybe we might do something similar for basketball season and have you guys come along. In all honesty, I don't think the AD idea would be a bad thing to do once a month or something like that, because there's always stuff to talk about in there from your guys' perspective. Maybe a shorter show, but
Yeah, there's always things coming up, and I just joined the IHSA Administrators Advisory Committee. So we'll meet in September, and yes.
So that's who I send my complaints to now, huh? Awesome.
Just put him on speed dial.
Perfect. I usually text that.
Carl MB at mcusd185.org.
All right.
All right, everybody, thank you for joining us. And Shelby and I want to thank Sports Corner at 124 for letting us host these here.
Absolutely.
Saw Kelsey back there. She wanted to get on a broadcast at some point, but looks like she's busy now, not going to get on there. But
And at noon tomorrow.
Yeah, Downtown Athletic Club.
Downtown Athletic Club kicks off at noon tomorrow right here at Sports Corner 124.
Actually, they're going down the block.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
they're going right next door, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
real quick before we go, what is that? Some people who are watching don't know what it is. I mean,
It's boosters that people interested in athletics in Western Illinois University and Macomb High School. They come and they meet every Monday. Like Shelb said, we're at Park Place this year. You come in and the coaches, ADs will, Coach Bub Bub and I are here every week. Then whatever coaches are in season, usually we'll have football, volleyball, basketball, wrestling. We don't meet in the spring, but it's just a good time to catch up on the information and get some input from our volunteer coaches.
yeah.
Well, it's an opportunity for those people too that that have any questions or anything that they can ask coaches questions, you know, and kind of get it quote unquote from the horse's mouth, if you will.
Yeah.
All right, well, community news brief, Rushville Times. That would be Shelby right here. Thank you for helping out and helping organize this and getting it all put together.
Shoot, you did all the work, man. I just showed up to look pretty.
You do look pretty. There's no doubt about that. Doesn't he look pretty?
Good looking shirt.
I thought somebody puked on it.
I'm not going to say anything.
I'm not really. I just like giving
I know.
Cubs fans a hard time
I
because
know.
that's what I'm good at.
Well, I know. I'm the black sheep of my family. Believe me.
Everybody else is a Cardinal fan?
Everybody else is Cardinal fans, pretty much.
That's
so.
probably why you're a Cubs fan. You're also a Seahawks fan.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying.
Yeah,
too.
see, you're all about the Cubs
just-
shirt, but he's got the Seahawks fan hat on backwards, so nobody knows it.
I was down at Brown County for the scrimmage the other night. I went walking by and somebody says, "Oh, Seahawks, huh?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's what the shirt says." So it's like,
All right, so TSSR Game Time Live starts tomorrow night. I think we have games in A-Town and maybe West Central for BPC and West Central tomorrow night with volleyball, and we won't be at Macomb till like next week, right?
Yeah, next week, yeah.
So thanks for joining us. We hope that you've enjoyed these, and we'll do them probably some more. Shelby and I are going to look to maybe try to do basketball and wrestling and stuff like that.
sure.
And we'll get the ADs back then, and you guys can come up with new stories about each other between now and then. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back in less than 24 hours, right at 24 hours for volleyball here on TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH. See ya.